We have lots of news to get into in regards to Tesla here in this video. We're also going to get into the PCE data that came out today, what Wall Street is saying about that, personal spending, personal income, and Fed Jerome Powell. Any comments that came out of that are notable, I will share with you. But, big but, we have to start with what in the world Elon Musk just said. Elon Musk just reshared his own video from a couple of months ago. And yeah, this is telling you something, and it could be telling you something big is coming around the corner. This is the video that Elon Musk just shared on his X account.
I think Tesla will have sort of a ChatGPT moment, maybe if not this year, I'd say no later than next year.
Wait, say that again. I'm sorry. You're going to have a
sort of ChatGPT moment.
Oh, you will. In terms of suddenly it will.
Yeah, suddenly 3 million cars will be able to drive themselves with no one.
Right, it goes back to that, right.
Yeah, and then 5 million cars, and then 10 million cars.
What's so great about this ChatGPT moment that investors will start to recognize is right now, nobody's expecting it. Nobody's expecting the robotaxi network. Nobody's expecting great things from Tesla, and that's why Tesla is so discounted today. Tesla was down huge in Q1. Q2 is not going to be anything like that. Q2, I think, is going to be a sharp rebound in Tesla stock. First, we have delivery numbers, then we have earnings, but ultimately, the real money with Tesla is Tesla's AI. And just imagine when the markets realize what Tesla is doing and the robotaxi network that is coming, in my opinion, in the next 12 months. I mean, you're going to be looking at exponential gains in Tesla stock. If we do hit all-time highs in the next 12 months, it is because of this ChatGPT moment that Elon is yet again reiterating today. It's also worth mentioning that Elon Musk cannot say what he wants to say on X. He has a lawyer that has to review all of his tweets, so anything that can be seen as forward-looking guidance, he's not allowed to talk about on X. So this is like the best thing that you're going to get from Elon in terms of where Tesla's AI is actually at, where the robotaxi network plans are ultimately at or going. And what I think Elon is really saying here is we are going to see dramatic improvement in FSD over the next coming months and the launch of 5 million cars driving themselves with nobody, which translates to me to a robotaxi network. Rowan Patel on X, he leads Tesla's policies, and he says the Tesla Semi is proving on a daily basis that zero emissions trucking will dominate in the near future. We are in the process of building a manufacturing facility at Giga Nevada to significantly increase production. Tesla's FSD free trial is starting to roll out to Tesla owners in the US that didn't previously purchase FSD. Within the next few weeks, over 1.7 million Tesla owners in North America will get to try FSD beta for free for the first time via this trial. But notice how Tesla is no longer calling full self-driving beta. They're now calling it full self-driving supervised. And I think that's an interesting little tweak that Tesla made, in which you're about to launch for real. And Tesla will be sending out an over-the-air software update that makes the Cybertruck frunk more sensitive to small objects to better help prevent potential injury. And Tesla is now showing in-house wrapped Cybertrucks in their showrooms. This is Tesla's $6,000 satin ceramic white color paint film, and I think the white looks awesome. Incredible. I think the white's probably my favorite, if we're just being honest. We now have a record 470 Cybertrucks spotted at Giga Texas today. The production ramp seems to be going very well. And this is another upside catalyst for 2024. It's actually the second one that I thought of on this list, and that is a smoother Cybertruck ramp. Because the Cybertruck, whenever you launch a new product, it's not expected to be profitable because you're just not making enough of them. Dollar for dollar, pound for pound, you're not efficient enough to generate, let's say, a 20% margin or 15% margin. As you ramp production, your margin will increase. Right now, we're expecting the Cybertruck could actually be negative to margins, but if you're ramping faster than we expect, you could very soon be adding to profitability based on the Cybertruck. Tesla's $25,000 car means tossing out Henry Ford's 100-year-old assembly line, according to Auto News. Quote, instead of a large rectangular car moving along a linear conveyor belt, parts are assembled simultaneously in dedicated areas and then all put together at the end. Tesla says the change could reduce manufacturing footprints by 44%, allowing the car maker to build future plants far faster and at a less expense. If the new assembly process is successful, Tesla says it can slash production cost in half. We also have a record 446 Tesla Megapacks worth around $700 million spotted at their Lathrop Megafactory today, a 31% increase versus the previous period. Tesla's energy generation and storage business profits nearly quadrupled in 2023. Revenue was about $6 billion last year. Chancellor Olaf Scholz says he supports the expansion of Tesla's Giga Berlin factory. He hopes Tesla will develop in Brandenburg the same way as Ford in Cologne, whose plant has existed there for almost 100 years and where the partnership between the company and the city offers promise for the future. Quote, that's why I'm in favor of further expansion of the Tesla factory. Tesla spent an estimated $6.4 million on U.S. digital advertising in 2023, according to estimates from Vinix. The majority of Tesla's ad spending has gone to YouTube, according to the Wall Street Journal. Outgoing CEO Mary Barra for GM says, quote, this year is such an important year for the execution perspective, and I believe we're on track that we're going to get these vehicles out. We've had challenges at Cruise, but we're going to have a better Cruise going forward. UAW membership falls 3.3% to the lowest level since 2009. And Tesla, on their Tesla Europe and Middle East X account, announced they just delivered their 20,000th Tesla in Israel. Xiaomi officially announced that in the 24 hours since the launch of the Xiaomi SU7, orders reached 88,898 units. This was one of two reasons why Tesla stock sold off yesterday. The other had to do with Dan Ives lowering his Tesla price target from $315 to $300 per share. But this SU7 EV from Xiaomi's, they undercut Tesla's pricing to just sell as many units as possible. They're not going to be profitable. They sacrifice profitability to undercut Tesla. And that's what the markets really didn't like about this. Whether or not this product will be successful, who knows? But the Chinese market is big enough for multiple different players. The core PCE price index today rose 0.26% for the month of February. The estimate was 0.3, but how this works is it basically rounds. So if you're at 0.26, that rounds to 0.3. January's reading initially was 0.42, but was revised up to 0.45%. So that got revised from 0.4% last month to 0.5% for last month. So that did not look good at all. But your core month-over-month PCE came in line with expectations. The 12-month core PCE rate was 2.8% in February, the lowest in 3 years. But the 6-month annualized rate was 2.9% in February. It was 1.9% in December and 2.6% in January. So you now officially have PCE rising again. And last month's upward revision to PCE is the highest 1-year gain for, a month-over-month basis for PCE. And that's not great. And basically, any inflation chart that you look at shows a rise in PCE again. Again, when you look at a 3-month or 6-month annualized, you're starting to go up at the most aggressive pace you have seen since about mid-2020. Jerome Powell said this morning, the fact that the U.S. is growing solidly, labor market is strong, gives us the chance to be a little more confident about inflation until cutting rates. Jerome Powell also says there's no reason to think the economy is in or on the edge of recession. He also says the possibility of a recession is not elevated now. Jerome Powell also says, which is one of the main highlights or quotes from Powell today, he says, if our base case doesn't happen, we would hold rates where they are for longer. And Jerome Powell says, we want to be more confident before we cut rates. But he also adds in there, we are ready for the economy to perform in unexpected ways. So a sharp slowdown, an increase of economic activity, they just really don't know. And then he kind of makes two statements back to back that kind of counteract each other. He says waiting too long could mean unneeded damage to the economy and the labor market. Then he says reducing rates too soon would be very disruptive. But based on these next two quotes, it seems like Powell is still a full-on bull. He says, my first thought on PCE was in line with expectations. Good to see in line with expectations. He is referring to the PCE data that came out this morning, but I don't think he maybe registered the increase last month, the upward revision that we've seen. And then he says this February reading is definitely more along the lines of what we want to see. This is a very different Fed Jerome Powell than we're used to. I think he's under a lot of political pressure right now to start reducing rates, considering it is an election year. And you're literally having senators like calling him very angry with him that he's not lowering rates. Because when you actually look at the inflation data, PCE, CPI, PPI, they're all trending up again. The Jerome Powell that we used to have back in 2023 or 2022 would have been a lot more hawkish right now than what Powell currently is. But overall, it appears that the data is kind of walking a fine line. If there's something the markets react to, it's likely to be last month's upward revision on PCE. And then kind of when you look at the overall estimate for, the number that we just got today, it was basically in line with the aggregate estimate on Wall Street. So I think this one's kind of difficult to get a feel for how the markets are going to take this on Monday. I honestly have no idea. You also had personal income month over month that came in at 0.3%, but personal spending that really beat expectations, coming in at 0.8%. The economy, you want to see the economy doing well, no matter what. You don't want to be inching towards a recession. Personal spending coming in this good on a month over month basis, it's showing people are continuing to spend money. And that is good for economic activity and economic growth. This could be a little bit more of a contrarian indicator, but the bulls are now in control. According to last week's AI Investor Sentiment Survey, bullish investors are at 50%, 50.0%. Neutral investors fell from 29.6% to 27.6%. So that was a drop of about 2%. And bearish investors absolutely plummeted from 27.2% to 22.4%. So there's really not a lot of bears out there. Tesla's global inventory numbers for the Model Y are going up quite a bit today from 5,800 to about 7,100. So that's a huge jump there. Not sure what's going on with the Model Y still. Hopefully we get more clarity coming on Tesla's earnings call. I expect we will. The Model X, the Model S, and the Model S are all at very low levels of inventory. And either that just means there's a lot of demand for these three models or production is low. One or the other. Google Trends data shows a continued uptick in search trend activity. The Model 3 going from 34 to 35, the Model Y going from 33 to 34, the Cybertruck going from 33 to 34, and the Tesla Model X staying at right about 10. So every single Tesla product is seeing a rise in search trend activity. We can put the Model S up here as well and see what that looks like. And the Model S is going up quite a bit as well on a relative basis for the Model S. The Model S and Model X kind of stay at low levels of searches, but the Model S went from 11 to 13. So that's quite a jump for the Model S. That is the highest search trend activity has been for the Model S since back here in September of 2023. So that's even quite impressive. And Tesla continues to run about 4,000 different ads with Google here over this weekend. Over on StockTwits, sentiment is neutral at 47. the exact same number as Thursday, which was also 47. That's interesting. Message volume today is normal at 49. Yesterday was at 50, so slightly less messaging that you're seeing over here on StockTwits, but that's typical over the weekend. It's actually more typical to see a bigger drop when the markets are closed, but we'll see what happens over this extended weekend. The participation ratio is high at 55, which is roughly where we have been now for the last couple of weeks. If we take a look at the put to call ratio, this is pretty fascinating. You're actually seeing quite a bit of put activity starting to go against Tesla here on this latest bounce that you have seen in Tesla stock. When this blue line goes higher, that means the put to call ratio is going higher. That means more puts are being bought on a relative basis than calls. Still, there's more calls being bought, put to call ratio at 0.95. But when that goes above 1, then you have more puts being bought than calls. And I think that just shows me personally that everyone is still so bearish on Tesla. It actually means that maybe this upcoming week, even if Tesla misses on their delivery estimates, which almost seems like a guarantee at this point, Tesla stock may actually go higher on that, just given there is so many bears out there. Over the last week, you had 4,102 option orders from hedge funds and institutions, just big money overall, totaling $2.74 billion with a positive order value of 61%. If we take a look at the short interest in Tesla, that is now at the highest level you have seen in about the last 12 months at 3.71%. You have $18.04 billion currently sold short in Tesla stock, with 102.64 million shares that are currently sold short. Cost to borrow fees on Friday were on the lower side at about 0.5%. So although the stock was down over 2%, there wasn't a whole lot of shorting activity that was taking place. On a technical basis, for anyone that likes the technicals just in general, not necessarily on Tesla, there's not too much to like here, but Tesla stock is in a very interesting place because you actually fell under this trend line to close Friday. That would suggest maybe some, larger downside could come from here. But at the same time, if we do have a good delivery number, well, I don't think this is a clean enough break of this trend line to the downside to show that we're just destined for more downside. I don't believe it's that, straightforward or that simple for this upcoming week based on the technicals alone. Overall, you're still in a pretty solid uptrend from the 2-day back-to-back lows that we've seen on March 14th as well as March 15th. You've been rising ever since, and in fact, from your 160 low until where we are now, Tesla stock's up about 9.69% or so, and I think you could go a whole hell of a lot higher than that, but we'll talk about that more in the next video. Tesla's RSI is currently at 45.27, so you're not even at neutral, you're still slightly bearish on a relative strength basis, and your MACD has been positive ever since back here on March 21st, and Tesla stock on March 21st was about $170 per share, so even though the stock is only up like $5 since March 21st, the MACD line continues to get further away above the blue line here, which is a very good sign of inflows heading into Tesla and maybe more people starting to get bullish under the surface that you're not necessarily hearing from hedge funds, institutions, money managers, or even retail investors for that matter. It seems like everyone's bearish on Tesla, but some people starting to get a little bit more on the bullish side. But I think it's safe to say overall consensus is still very bearish on Tesla stock. Let me know what you think about this information down below in the comment section. Hit the like button as well as subscribe to the channel. If you guys want to come trade with us live in real time each and every single day that we are trading, I send out alerts. You can come talk to me. We can chat in that chat. You've got a couple hundred members in that as well. So thank you for watching. Enjoy your day, and I will see you in the next one.